At this point in the live sessions, I usually pause for a moment to ask for questions or comments on the four principles. To my surprise, most people express agreement with the ideas. However, putting them into practice is a whole other matter. If you agree that these changes need to happen in your own presentation activities, you need to begin taking concrete steps in that direction. The process does not happen on its own. Sometimes people are reluctant to make those changes. We commonly hear something to the effect of, "I'm not sure I want our people presenting this way. They would be bouncing all over the place, getting off track, and not communicating the essential elements of our message." Now, this is a valid concern. It's important to note right from the start that being interactive with delivery does not in any way imply disorganization or a lack of meticulous planning. Relational speakers must always be keenly aware of where they are in their message and maintain control of that flow. What it does mean, however, is that there is flexibility to vary and customize topics within the bounds of that overall structure. We recommend an approach called the content ladder. With this strategy, you treat your performance as a progression of message pieces, like rungs of a ladder. While interacting, a speaker works his way from rung to rung, checking for questions or misconceptions along the way. In other words, rather than using a single linear presentation during a performance, he may progress through numerous small presentations. Sometimes individual pieces may be shown out of order or not shown at all, with other small pieces added. All the while, though, there's a keen awareness of the overall track and where it's heading. Also note when using this strategy, it's important to build a certain degree of flexibility into the track. If a talk is scheduled to last for an hour, plan only 45 minutes of content and leave the rest for interactions and spontaneous customization. Think of it as integrating the question and answer time throughout the session rather than leaving it at the end. Yeah, but if we do this kind of presentation, won't people get lost in the maze of the options? When you say you have thousands of slides available, how do you find anything when answering questions? Well, that's another common question that comes up. Here's a demonstration of just how easy it is to find one slide out of thousands of available options. Let's say I really like green apples, but there's not a single apple in the house. So I decide to buy one. Perhaps the grocery store holds 10,000 products, but in this case, I'm only looking for one of those products. How do I find it? We'll use a process called information architecture to organize our search and find our way to the apples. When we first enter the store, we can ignore the aisles with cosmetics and canned goods and dairy products. Instead, we head straight for the produce. That's one click. Now, once in produce, we can ignore the tomatoes and radishes and lettuce and walk toward the apple display. That's 2 clicks. Finding our goal at that point is pretty straightforward. One more click gives us the green apple. Obviously, all of us use these kinds of organizational and retrieval strategies on a regular basis. Finding content in a presentation network is just as easy. We simply need to make sure our materials are properly organized. We use the above 3-click rule as a general guideline. That allows us to spontaneously find any piece of content within seconds, even if there are thousands of choices. Large amounts of information can be laid out in ways that all but guarantee smooth selection and display. Once your delivery skills reach the state that we call visual fluency, visuals fly into view with the ease of words rolling off the tongue. What are some of the other benefits of these techniques? One is that it forms a kind of content management system for your presentation materials. Instead of having old slideshows spread all over your computer, all the valuable and usable materials sit together in one place where everything can be easily located during a performance. What you're seeing here is the inside of our network. More than 14,000 slides conveniently grouped into hierarchical structures. Another benefit is the fact that a relational network acts like a cheat sheet or a notes page for a presenter. Navigation elements and slide design guide her to the needed content and help her remember what content is available for selection. Now, this guidance in turn increases presenter confidence. She can think ahead even while presenting to determine where the interactions will go next. In other words, she doesn't have to try and remember a whole line of upcoming slides because she creates that progression of content on the fly. Next, we'll look at a couple of design issues. Many years ago, when relational presentation was still in its infant stages, we focused mostly on encouraging presenters to adopt flexible delivery. The concept of interactive delivery back then was so novel that we were more concerned with how people were displaying their ideas rather than what they were actually showing. Well, that's changed. We've realized since then that the content, the type of content in your network, can dramatically impact the effectiveness of the interaction. A more direct way of saying that is that if slide content is garbage to begin with, navigation simply turns it into flexible garbage. Most of us as PowerPoint users have never been trained in design, and we may not know how to craft attractive or effective displays. For this reason, Aspire workshops now focus heavily on basic design issues such as color combinations, content placement, consistency, and lighting effects. We also look at the power of subtlety and simplicity. We emphasize, for example, the importance of having one big, bold idea per slide as opposed to crowding slides with many ideas and losing the objective in the process. We even look at numerous alternatives to traditional bullet points. If you must use bullet points, prepare them with alternative designs. Perhaps have bullets on separate slides and add navigation so that individual ideas can be displayed in random order, or not at all, depending on the circumstances.